Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there, you gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage, we are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Yeah, what up, what up? It's your boy Major Gage. I got my mans in them, Anthony Malcolm with me and Bobby Drake, and we are Manifestations 2020.
Yeah.
What's good, fellas? What's cracking?
What's good?
Hey man, ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no thing but a chicken wing on a string. Let's get it, man. You know what I'm saying? We feeling good today. You know, we back. We was out for a week, you know, we got everything, you know, together, let the juices flow, you know, got some detox, whatever the case may be, and now we back with a vengeance. We ready to get into it, man. Talk to me, man. What's new and good? You know what I'm saying? Before we get into it, just debrief me a little bit. How was y'all's week? How y'all feeling?
Oh, the week was good. Just went to Strawberry Fair. I think it's called Strawberry Fair today. Up here in Tampa. First time going to it. Not bad. It's just like a regular day kind of youth fair, but up in Tampa way. Otherwise from that, you know, just a good day. Love the fact that the new year started. A lot of things looking forward to before this year ends. A lot of projects that I definitely want to get off the platform and get on and popping. So yeah, just looking forward to it, man. Starting off the year fresh, about to spring forward. Time to set them clocks forward soon. So, you know.
That's what it is. All right. That's what's up. Shout out to Tampa, the Strawberry Festival. All right. I never heard of that. Shout out to Tampa. What about you, Bobby Drake? What's cracking? What's new and good before we get into it?
Man, ain't nothing new to it, but just to do it, man.
Yeah.
Out here booked and busy, making it happen. And as always, we're trying to set up them ducks, knock them on down, and make things happen. That's the objective. Real quick, want to give a shout out. This past Monday, it was the blessed born day of one of our titans of Black empowerment, the venerable and honorable Dr. Amos Wilson. His birthday was on the 23rd. One of the great ones born during Black History Month. And as always, I got to encourage you, if you're not familiar, because some of the other people gets talked about a bit more. We talked about the Dr. John Henry Clarks. We talked about the Dr. Benz, the Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop's. You don't always hear a lot of people shouting out Dr. Amos Wilson, but the work of Dr. Amos Wilson is second to none. Definitely need to listen to that brother. I encourage anybody to look up some of his lectures. He has some that have been recorded, and a lot of them have been restored, and they've been digitized and modernized, so it looks clean, looks precise. Listen to that brother's words, especially if you're in the education field, especially if you're homeschooling. Anyone that works with the youth and children, you need to listen, especially to his wisdom regarding education. That brother right there is the blueprint. Anyone that's looking to develop curriculum for young Black boys, young Black girls, especially young Black boys, you need to listen to the work of Dr. Amos Wilson. I will even go so far as to say that anyone that's even operating off a curriculum currently, if you have not considered his works, I would say that your curriculum has holes and gaps in it.
Okay.
And don't be offended or slighted if you hear that and you feel some type of way. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a Negro on a microphone. There's a whole bunch of those these days. Go listen to that brother for yourself. Check what he's saying. See how it's held up over the time, and then evaluate whether I'm telling the truth or not. That's all I gotta say. But
I think, brother. Yeah, I think I find a lot of that work similar into Anthony Browder, and I think he might have been an inspiration from Mr. Amos Wilson. So I don't know Anthony Browder like that, but the curriculum that he also has as well, I can feel a similarity in it. Maybe he was inspired from that, but
there's a lot of overlap between himself, Dr. Anthony Browder, and also Dr. Asa Hilliard. There's a lot of overlap between those three, but again, when you talk about academics, when you're talking about scholarship, scholastic achievement, the specific needs that we have, because the reality is, let's face it, this country, this world, there's a bit of a duopoly going on where there's the world for everybody else, and then there's a world for the Black man, the Black woman, the Black boy, the Black girl. And it's not sufficient enough to just put a standard run-of-the-mill curriculum in front of them. You can do that, and to an extent, they're going to be able to, to perform, but without being able to speak to those nuances and speak to those specificities that separate us, those distinctions, there's always going to be holes that are missed. And one thing that I can definitely say for certain, just in all areas of life, that 80-20 rule is very real. There's in everything, there's 20% of anything that can really leverage 80% of your gains in that, and a lot of those nuances into how we learn, into the challenges that we have, and how to go about meeting and overcoming those challenges. I would venture to say that 20% is definitely going to be the driver of the 80% differences. So especially if you have children that are struggling in school academically, you know that there's an untapped gold mine within your boy, within your girl. Look up Dr. Amos Wilson. Look at all three of those brothers, Dr. Asa Hilliard, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Anthony Browder. Look up those works and apply what you learn to your children. Watch the breakthroughs.
I agree. And I feel very privileged, man, having actually gone to see Dr. Asa Hilliard in person, having gone to see Dr. John Henry Clark in person, haven't seen Minister Farrakhan in person when I was growing up. This is how I grew up. Like I was
blessed, brother. That is blessed.
I was a very, very revolutionary household. So, you know, I give thanks for that. It paid dividends in the way that I present, the way that I think, the fact that, you know, I'm not one of these people out here that's just kind of a walking drone. You know what I'm saying? Like it matters, people. Educate your kids young. It matters. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's good stuff. Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. We got lots to cover today. I'm gonna start off somewhere and then I'm gonna take it somewhere. So I'm gonna just start off, you know, with some things that are kind of local, but it ties into the topic for today, which is the clown table on manhood. They had this clown table, right? That's the best way I can describe it. It was a round table, you know, so the table was round. It was round. It was a table, and there were males sitting at it, but I can't call it no round table discussion on manhood because they don't know what the fuck they was talking about. So I'm gonna just go ahead and address a couple things first, and then we get into it. This really bugged me, but I think that this is what happens when you don't assert your manhood properly. And, you know, women will do you like this when you don't properly assert your manhood. I want y'all to look at this.
Remarrying again. I'm done. He was older, much older. We had a big age gap relationship. But we were married for 20 years. He was a provider. I never had to pay no bills. He was a good guy, and he will be missed. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
So that was Shira 7, right? And her husband died a couple weeks ago. And RIP to that brother and his family. And, you know, I hope that they find peace and, you know, whatever the case may be. But I just wanted to point this out. You know, if you allow a woman to not respect you in life, she will also disrespect you in death. You understand? I found it particularly offensive that this bird, you know, her husband just died. And instead of, you know, talking about the man he was, his character, and, you know, his life and whatever the case may be, this bird goes on social media and talks about how she never had to pay no bills. He was a great provider. I think that's extremely disrespectful. You understand what I really do, you know, because that's her whole spiel. You know, she teaches women how to use men to pay their bills. That's all she does. That's all she ever talks about. She is the textbook quintessential example of a whore. You understand what I'm saying? And this is all she represents. And you know, I have a real problem with that. You know, when you don't properly assert your manhood, even in death, people will acknowledge you as something to be used, something to be, thrown aside. People will equate you to what you could do for them. I thought it was extremely disrespectful and in very poor taste. So I just want to talk about that since we're talking about manhood today. We're talking about masculinity. I want to talk about some of the ways, that manhood is being attacked. And don't get it twisted. These women who come out here all the time and talk about how, a nigga got to pay all my bills and nigga got to do this, nigga got to do that. Oh, you can't talk to me unless you make over $500,000. That is an attack on masculinity. That is essentially saying that you don't matter if you can't do XYZ for me, and defining manhood through the lens of how women, and not even a high caliber of women, how the very lowest caliber of women view men. And that really needs to be addressed. We're going to talk about it on some of the clips that I have later. What do y'all have on that real quick before I move on to the next one?
I think a lot of people don't even realize that, when it comes down to a lot of these men, manhood, a lot of manhood is being displayed in not dealing with a lot of these women, not chasing these women, understanding that they're leveling up and not being a victim to these women. So when women come out here and say, oh, these men ain't man enough to chase me or even come in to approach women anymore. No, actually his masculinity is kicking in at a high level because now he's showing and exuding emotional intelligence to understand his boundaries are more important than what you got going on. And also to make sure that he's building a legacy and not just a family of buffoons. Right. And being the gesture of the family, even in the midst of death, and fellas, you guys, even though people can put fault on these women, you have to put fault on yourself. And it goes back to the saying that you have to pick better. Just like you tell women to pick better, you have to pick better. You have to vet real thorough because your legacy depends on it. People judge you by your woman and by your children, your offspring, and how they operate. So you want to make sure that you put yourself in the best position to have your legacy represented in the best perspective possible. So you guys got to just be careful about how you go about things and watch these women. Also be very wary of women that want children, because a lot of times you think that you're creating a family and you don't know that these women have hidden agendas. They don't want you, they want the child and move on from you and have you keep paying the responsibilities while they're enjoying the fruits of that child, because now that woman, not only does she weaponize the child against you, but now that child also becomes her miniature slave. And now she invests into this child to be her soldier on how she carries out throughout life, and end up, if she's very narcissistic, in some instance, she'll use that child to be her workhorse, her financial horse for the rest of her life as well. So you got to be very careful about that too. You're not only protecting yourself, but you're also protecting the emotions and the livelihood of your offsprings too.
Facts. All right, Ant, you cooked on that one. Bobby Drake, what you got?
No, absolutely. You've got to we have to be understanding first and foremost of what manhood and masculinity actually is. Because too often what we've encountered and been dealing with the last several years, really it's been for quite some time now, but there really has been a renaissance of sorts of men actively stepping into and defining masculinity for ourselves, but more importantly, in the context of the current times that we're in, right? And that hasn't been happening for the longest time. For the longest time, there's been just the typical 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s golden era definition of manhood and what that looked like.
Yeah.
And that has been in sore need of an overhaul, especially since the definition of womanhood has, I wouldn't necessarily say evolved, but it has changed since those days as well too. So you've had women living in a more modern context and paradigm of womanhood
Right.
But meanwhile, we've had men trying to live up to the standards from back in the day. And that's been one of the biggest issues as far as the gender wars and the differences between the sexes nowadays. We have women who are operating by a completely different set of rules and guidelines than their mothers or grandmothers. But meanwhile, they've been trying to hold men to live up to the standards that their fathers and grandfathers lived up to, and not allowing men to grow in that same capacity. So they've been wanting the space to grow and spread out. But the men, you have to be locked into the same box. We like you in this box. Don't get out of this box. And that's been the issue. And that's been resulting in a discrepancy between the transactional value between the two. We've had value that's unequal being trying to match together. Well, you're saying that you want this. Great, but we want this. Well, no, but you can't have that. No, we want this, yes, but you can't have that.
Right.
And so that's how we've gotten to where we are in this current state of the moment. So therefore, it's been very important that men have been able to define for ourselves what this is. And one of the biggest things that we have gotten to is we've, as many different definitions as you have wandering around, one of the consensuses between men is that men are no longer going to accept being only valued and only looked at as far as what we can provide, what we can give and do. We are insisting that you look at us as people first.
Right.
So don't worry about my money. Don't worry about my pockets. Don't worry about how strong I am. Don't worry about whether I can protect and provide for you. That's good. And most men are not saying that they don't want to do these things.
Right.
Most men are not saying that. But what we're saying is that is not where it begins for us, and that is not where it ends for us.
There you go.
In spite of everything else, we are human beings. We're men. We have feelings. We have emotions. We have wants, goals, desires, hope, dreams, fears. We are human beings. We live a complete human experience, and we're not going to settle for women or for anyone that does not acknowledge us. So as far as the meat, the lettuce, the fixings in the middle, that's great. The protection provision, that's cool. But no Diddy, you're going to respect these buns. You're going to respect this brioche bun. The top bun, the bottom bun is our humanity. And if you're not respecting that, if you're not coming to the gate open and receptive to that, then you don't get these Cajun pickles. You don't get this relish. You don't get this iceberg romaine lettuce. You don't get these Wagyu patties.
I'm glad you clarified the buns comment. I didn't know where the fuck he was going with that. But yeah, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know he was going with that. I'm like, whoa. But yeah, no, that you making sense. Look, man, at the end of the day, this is what it is, man. Brothers, and I like to see that. Along with them saying that we're not only here, we're not just here ATM with a dick. That ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Not only are we not just that, we're also telling you specifically what our requirements are. You understand what I'm saying? And we're giving realistic criteria. You know, we're not painting some pie in the sky female like a lot of women do. This pie in the sky dude, he's got to be 6'6" and make 6 figures and all. We ain't doing that. We just saying, hey, you know, we don't want anyone combative. We want someone peaceful, feminine, fit, you know, all those type of things. You know, just being very clear about what it is that we want and what the requirements are. I really got to shout out those sisters. I want to talk about that real quick. We had a panel discussion. I'm gonna do a video on that with some sisters a couple weeks back, and you know, they kind of called and they just kind of grilled us a little bit about, you know, relationships and dating, and you know, what men look for, and you know, how they could appear, how they could show up better to men, that the type of men that they want to attract, and you know, just asking really good, thoughtful, intelligent questions instead of jumping out there and trying to tell us what the fuck we think. They asked the brothers, you know what I'm saying? And we talked to them in good faith. It's like they came to us in good faith. That's what I want to see. You understand that's how we progress. That's how we move. That's how we grow. You know, if we're all out here with the worst assumptions and we're going in to the dating market with a head full of trauma, and we just trauma dumping our shit on everybody else, and we're not learning anything, how productive is that? let's tighten up, folks. This video never should have happened. This was a travesty. You know what I'm saying? This is a very sick woman, and I really side-eye women who listen to Shira 7. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go into this other video. Again, before we get into those specific videos about what went on this panel, which was outrageous, I want to talk about things pertaining to manhood. I want to talk about this also, because a lot of us, we want to prove our manhood all the time, and it's not necessary. And a lot of times, sound manhood is simply removing yourself from a situation. So I'm going to play this video real quick, and we'll come back from it.
It began with handshakes. Surveillance video capturing a deadly encounter between 3 people at a Sunoco gas station on Pembroke Road near DeSoto Drive in Miramar. It happened around 8:30 last night, right across the street from North Perry Airport. Police say what started as an argument quickly escalated into a shootout, killing 19-year-old Christian Correa.
We were sitting here and we heard like 8 to 10 gunfire shots. We seen a guy wearing all black run down this street here. Seconds later, we heard more gunfire.
Another camera angle appears to capture an exchange of gunfire across the hood of the Mercedes sedan. At the Quick Stop food store across the street, a man was working on a car in the parking lot. He took a bullet to the thigh.
He just fixed the car and he said, "Oh, I'm shot. We are not bleeding. We come here, we are not bleeding. And after we see the blood, then we bleed."
Quick Stop owner Mohammed Chowdhury cleaned up the blood outside his storefront this morning.
I feel very, very bad.
The video appears to show 2 shooters running in different directions away from the Sunoco.
And I want to talk about that again. You know, a lot of times we feel like we have to constantly assert and prove our manhood. It looked like, I can't speak in any particulars, but it looked like they were just kind of jawing at each other, you know what I'm saying, about something, probably something that, you know, was bubbling from way before that incident. And it bubbled over into, you know, that incident taking place and somebody losing their life, you know. And I want to say emphatically, brothers, we got to stop this shit. This is ridiculous at this point. This kid's 19 years old. He ain't coming home. You know, them other 2 kids, I'm assuming that they're probably in his age range, you know, and they're going to either spend a significant amount of time behind bars, get retaliation shots, or spend the rest of their life behind bars. You know what I'm saying? And over what? There's nothing that was that serious for them to be going back and forth like they was going back and forth at that gas station. You understand? And I particularly, it particularly bothered me that took place, because that's less than a mile from where I live. And I live in a great neighborhood. There's no crime over here. You understand what I'm saying? But that still happened less than a mile from where I live. And so it just gives more credence to, you know, how people think that, oh, it ain't my problem. Oh, that shit ain't got nothing to do with me. Why y'all worried about it? It's them. It's them till it's not them. That could have been anybody. I could have been standing there and got hit with the crossfire, or my wife. You understand what I'm saying? God forbid, knock wood, you know, we're safe. But I'm just saying, like, it's that close. And so we got to keep our heads on a swivel, and we have to remember to assert our manhood when necessary. That was just a bunch of bitch shit. That there's nothing that you can tell me that convinced me that those young men needed to behave that way in that video. And this type of nonsensical manhood without direction is what creates that type of behavior. And that's what bothers me most about these other video clips that I'm going to get into and show you, you know, okay, where these men who are supposedly leading other men and talking about manhood are just all over the place and have no idea what they're talking about. It leads to shit like that. You know, if you're not informed or you're not up to speed enough to give, you know, some real game on manhood and how to move, just shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't need any more of that. I'll park the Chevy. What y'all got?
It's been a long time now I've been screaming from the mountaintops that we are losing our children. We are definitely not being to them what our ancestors and what our elders before us were to us.
Yes.
And I talked about that before. Even the drug dealers, like the drug dealers back then, is nowhere near the drug dealers today. You know, even though drug dealers did some horrible stuff to gain their money, they were also financial bankers back in the early 50s. They were the bankers. They were the ones that people went to get loans when we were redlined from regular banks and couldn't get nothing. So a lot of these foundational restaurants and stores that are black owned that's been operating for 80, 70, 60 years now, a lot of them were funded off of drug money. As far as loan wise, they did a lot of great things for the community to counterbalance all their evil stuff. You start coming down to the 90s when we were growing up, the drug dealers, they came up to our family members and made sure that they made promises that we wouldn't be victims to the streets. Local drug dealers that came to me and was like, yo, Miss Lee ain't with that shit, bro. So make sure you ain't out here on these streets because I'm gonna whoop your ass and then your mama gonna whoop your ass. So I always had check from inside my household and outside my household. Now you go down to the drug dealers today, all they do is spend money in the strip club. They just burning money. They shooting each other. There's no building behind to counterbalance their fucked up ways. And that's part of the code of conduct that's missing outside of the realms of that. So, when you see all of this going on, we have a huge disconnect and we're losing a lot of our youth because we're not being that foundation for them. And you don't have to be a drug dealer. I'm just using the drug dealer part as being how extreme one particular group of people were, but they still were on code to make sure that the balance of our community wasn't falling off, meaning that they would make sure that they would do their part as well, even though they're doing some real foul stuff, to make sure that the ones that need to stay online stay online to keep the legacy going within our community. So even recently, you talked about this 19-year-old, but what about the recent, I think this happened 4 days ago, the 12-year-old, the 13-year-old, and the 15-year-old that's charged for rape. And they're being charged as adults. And this is what I'm saying. Like I've also told B. Lee, shout out to B. Lee. He does great things for the community down there in South Florida. And he was talking about something on his page, and I said, I think he's asking a question of why our children or something like that. And I said, the reason why part of the reason why our children are like that is because we're not doing what our ancestors were doing. When our ancestors saw a need in the community, they went out there, but they also brought their children with them so their children can see the need of the community. So growing up, a lot of our ancestors before us, the reason that you see them being doctors and lawyers and community activists and just building a lot of stuff for us that to this day is foundational right now is because a lot of them saw what their fathers and their mothers were doing out there trying to help their people, and they wanted to be part of that. So when they saw a need, oh, we need more doctors. Okay, I'm going to go to school and be a doctor. Oh, we need more lawyers. I'm going to go to school and be a lawyer. And that's why we had so much influx of predominant people in fields we needed that looked like us. Over the years, we just got into just doing sports, and we don't have the need that we had before. And we don't have parents going out there and doing what they do for the community, because now they just give them the laptop, tell them to watch the laptop, and as long as you're quiet, then that's good. And that's not being productive for the next generation. So there's a gap between that. So now you have these kids that don't have no mentors. The parents are stretched so thin because they got to work long hours. So nobody's there being supervised with them. We don't have, everybody don't want to be mentors anymore to these children and things like that. So now these kids are just operating on their own will. And this is what happens. Then you have to over-sexualize everything on the internet they have access to. So now you got these kids putting rocks in this girl's mouth, taking off her drawers, having sex with her, and damaging this young girl's life. In return, they damage their own lives as well, because they're going to be tried as an adult, and they're going to spend majority of their life behind bars, being conditioned before even having their minds molded. So now imagine when they come out, they're going to have this thing where I don't know how to function and keep doing the negative stuff. And that's where the cycle comes in, and they're going to be in and out the jailhouse system like that again. So it's sad. It's sad because we have that going on, and we need to be a part of that. So I'll land my plane on that.
Well said, Bobby Drake.
Yeah, I saw. I didn't see that story, which is crazy because I don't live far from that gas station either. And I've stopped there on several occasions. So
right.
I don't know what time that happened, but rather, usually I'm in early, but sometimes I'll be out there late night. So it's only by the grace of God that that's not me with some bullet holes in my vehicle or inside of me. Thank God.
Right.
But I saw that story about what happened with that young girl, and disgust isn't even the word. I'm still processing
sickening
what it was, and the details. As you hear a story about a young girl being victimized in that way, and it's bad enough, and you figure, damn, we're in the basement. It doesn't get worse than this.
Yeah.
And with every new detail I heard, like, Jesus Christ, we got a sub basement too. We got a third level basement. We got a fourth. Can we stop digging, please? Damn.
Sick.
But it goes to show just how far gone the culture is right now. And I was talking about this on a couple people's pages.
Yeah.
And I said, this goes back to the one prevailing thought that I had was that this goes back to what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said. And this is why, again, I keep pointing back to the master teachers, because for the most part, there really is nothing new under the sun. We have biblical scripture talking about things of this nature. We have our master teachers and elders who spoke on these things, and we're seeing all of these things taking place today. So maybe when we were read it, when we first heard it, it didn't really make sense. We didn't have a frame of reference. But if you study these things and see these things and you keep them fresh in your mind, when you see what's taking place, it just checks the boxes like, well, damn, that's what so-and-so was talking about right there. Or that's this verse right here. That's this scripture right here. Or, dang, I just saw it in a lecture from so-and-so.
Yeah.
And Dr. Francis Krauss Welsing said, when we play games with sex, the joke is on the children.
The offspring, facts.
I'm seeing people, one of the most predominant comments that I saw regarding that was, why were these children, these aren't high schoolers. These are kids that I don't even think are even in middle school yet. Well, it's the 15-year-old, but outside that, you got 11, 12, and 10-year-olds involved in this mess. What are they doing out so late? And not just out so late, but out so late unattended. That was the number one thing I saw people talking about.
Right.
But when you have these broken households,
when
you have these single-parent households, specifically single-mother households, let's
no order.
Keep it a rack and stack. In addition to that, we know that times are hard. We know that cost of living, especially down here, just looking at the economics as we know it to be down here, we know that Florida has, if not then it's in the top 3 for the worst cost of living to minimum wage ratios there is. Cost of living is up here. Wages are getting paid are down here. A lot of people got to work multiple jobs just to be able to keep a basic roof over their head or just to keep that rent paid. So that means more time away from your family, and it's just you one. You have to rely on strangers or babysitters, or sometimes leaving the kids at home if you feel they're old enough to do that, which really we can't do anymore. That used to be a thing for us back in the day. Nowadays, you can't leave kids at home anymore. These kids, the access they have, it's not the same children.
It ain't. It really ain't.
You used to be able to give a 7-year-old a little key around the necklace and trust the kid to get on the city bus even all the way home. Don't talk to nobody. Go home. Throw your little food in the microwave. Lock the door. Do your homework. Watch TV afterwards, and they're good. You can trust that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't trust them at your eyesight for 3 seconds.
Nah, man.
And
Too much.
You also got to put in the fact that we had shows that also were parents as well, so they could be in front of the TV and still get the education going.
Oh,
right.
That too. Nowadays, the shows are garbage, but what they got access on their smartphones, because apparently, as soon as you turn 5 years old, you need to have an iPhone. I don't know why, but you do, apparently. But there's just so much bullshiggity out here to literally be astonish your kids, and there's no safeguards in place for the children to actually have some kind of defense against it.
Right.
So, but the genesis of this starts with the fact that there's a broken home structure in the first place. That's the nexus of it, because the community, we talk about the village, we talk about the community. The backbone of the community is the family. And every family is made up of the mother, the father. We talk about this right in the opening credits of the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the foundation is made up of. If you don't have that in place, then you're already in bad shape. And when you have a community that's made up like this, you don't got a healthy backbone. You got scoliosis.
Yeah.
And then you wonder how you have boys not just having the mindset to do this, but having the knowledge and the forethought. When I read the details, I wasn't giving props to tip my hat, but I had to acknowledge that from a criminal mindset, that was pretty genius.
Mm.
They knew they had to have at least two. I don't know where the 15-year-old comes in, but they knew they needed to have two people in place to pin the girl down. And then they knew, the child's going to make noise and scream. How do we get her to be quiet? Well, we're going to put dirt and sand and rocks in her mouth to keep. That is criminally brilliant. Not having a whole bunch of. They didn't bring tools to the job, but based on what was around them, they realized, well, we can improvise and use this in a criminal way. That is brilliant, and it's very disturbing that children had the capacity to think in that manner to get that end achieved. But that goes to show just what is being fed into these children when adults aren't paying attention, because there's no safeguards in place. When we intentionally have these broken families, it might sound good in the moment to say, well, I'm the mama and the daddy, I do all the jobs and everything. That sounds good, but when we look at the fruit that's being produced, it don't match up. We have to do better. We need to start being intentional again about creating our children, creating our families. And from that point, we can have the space and capacity to build better communities. We can't talk about having even one community dad for the whole neighborhood when there are broken homes all through the community. There's no dad in place to even be in that capacity. Dad across town trying to get visitation. You see what I'm saying? So we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional and stop playing games and take it seriously. The sex, the nut, it's not worth the long-term damage that is being caused down the line.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I don't know about that word choice, but I get what you're saying.
We're talking criminal master. We're talking about criminal masterminds. It's not politically correct, but just from a criminal justice standpoint, being able to because we don't have to.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I know it's not palatable, and I agree. But I'm just talking about the creativity applied to the to get the job done. We're talking about
kids to be that evil is.
We're talking about using a wheel instead of dragging something, using wheels to make the process easier and faster.
Yeah,
that's all.
It's very disturbing that kids are that advanced in the thought process of
wrongdoing. That's
wrongdoing. That is terrifying. It really is. So I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
It's sick, man. You know what I'm saying? And again, when you teach manhood, this is what you end up with. And that is the purpose of this show today. I'm going to get into some of the clips from this shit show that basically, and I saw someone do this locally, and I didn't figure out that that's what was being done until after I've been supporting it for a while. But it was a sister, she was doing a show, and it was kind of catering to the thought processes of men and kind of getting inside men's heads and, being able to understand men better and work with men better so that we can all come together and build community. basically that was the concept. Like kind of giving women a cheat sheet on getting in men's heads. The problem is the type of goofy ass niggas that were being invited up there whose heads we were getting in. And that's the same thing that's going on here. That's why I kind of had to stop supporting that locally. And that is why I do not support this. In these clips, you're going to see exactly what manhood is not. And the worst possible articulation of manhood that I've seen in quite some time. It's quite impressive. If I'm going to do a Bobby Drake and I'm going to give these adjectives to these buffoons, this is something. Listen to this. This is the first clip of a few, but you got to hear this one.
Ain't any closer to power than the person who birthed it.
Right. Yes.
The black woman, right?
Yes.
A lot of the time, it's black men that stand in the way of it, right? I know that there's no way to get there without the empowerment of black women and centering black women in that power talk, in that power struggle, in that power strategy, in that movement, in our behavior.
But you also learn, as a father, the mother ends up doing so much more than what you can offer sometimes, and it's just facts.
So it's incumbent upon you to have that information if your desire is to be a father. It's to understand the woman's point of view and the things that they go through.
I ran into some brothers a couple of years, last year, when we were running for election, who felt like Kamala couldn't lead.
Crazy.
I said, but your mother ran the house.
Right.
And my mother tragically died when I was 4, but my sister who raised me was a gangster. Could take $1 and balance the budget like in 25 minutes. $100. Honestly, I think men need to sit down, shut the fuck up. Right. It's a lot that we don't see because if you weren't raised that way, you don't know.
Women are the first wonder of the world, despite what's said. It's the first wonder.
Exactly.
That's the only thing outside of God that I know that creates.
Yes.
First and foremost. The issues that we have are that the woman knows before we know whether or not life should be brought into earth, brought here, or if it should be aborted. They deserve to have that right for the simple fact of America does not allow us to run a system the way we should as a family.
And so I do think the closest you could get to power, the closest you could get to life creating circumstances and is with the black woman.
I'm a man who dates men. A lot of men are strong. So the way that you say you're not gonna take nobody from my family, you're not gonna strip me from my family, a lot of people don't walk with that. A lot of people don't have that.
You look, before you came farther, when did you think about the general welfare of women?
We're taught masculinity is how powerful we can be and how we can protect what we own and what we, you know what I'm saying? That is not what protection is. That's not what safety is.
I mean, this show is going to be hard to do because there's literally so much shit they said wrong that you can't talk about it all in this show. Dude.
Forget a glass. They'd have had to give me like a whole fifth, maybe 2, to sit in that.
Dude, what you saying?
If you don't find a way to get me sloshed, I'm not going to be able to stay in my seat.
Oh my God!
I got three pages, and I stopped. I stopped after a while. I mean, I could really have a at least 40-page dissertation on this bullshit.
Easy. These niggas have no idea what they're talking about. And I mean, this is the thing. I'm all for respecting black women and empowering black women and working with black women. The problem is too many black men feel that you have to kiss the woman's entire ass all the time and denigrate yourself in order to work with and, deal with black women. And before I even get into anything, we're having discussions about black men and how we deal with black women in a general capacity. A lot of it having to do with our relationships, right? Romantic relationships. Where all these gay dudes come from? That's what I want to understand.
Is
why in the hell, dude? We got the one guy. He's up there talking about how, he dates men and men are strong, and men don't allow that. When in him dating men, he's agreeing with Luke James on something that Luke James said about nobody's going to separate him from his woman, but he's talking about with another man. Nigga, shut up! You don't know what you're talking about.
And that's the biasness that he was talking about, because he also said, I don't know if you peeped it, he was saying that men want to be sassy, men want to be taken care of.
He said that later, yeah.
So
men want to be the bitches, is what he said.
Yeah. So that's understandable from your point, because you're dealing with soft men and hard men. So what the fuck are you talking about? It's no different than a lesbian. Both lesbians want to live the soft life. So there's going to be arguments about that.
This is what I'm saying. There's no gay panel anywhere. And before some dumbass in the comments starts, he homophobic, before your dumbass jump off with that bullshit, this is not about being homophobic, because he actually made some valid points. He made a few points that I actually agreed with. When he had that back and forth with Clifton Powell, I actually agreed with him. I listened to the entirety of what he said. But the point of the matter is, you shouldn't be shooting off your mouth when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's simple as that. You have no point of reference to know what you're talking about. There's another point where there's this trans man up there. We got one of those too.
Yeah.
He was raised a girl and then transitioned into a man. So they're now a man. They're sitting in on our discussions talking about and this is a Latino trans man.
Yeah.
Sitting in on a discussion where black men are talking about what the fuck we gonna do for our community. Man, if you don't sit your bitch ass down,
you just can't make this
Lake Ashley De La Cruz.
You can't make this shit up. What wisdom do you have? And see, this is the problem. When you start talking about, we're going to have these discussions. I'm not mad at having the discussion, but we need people who know what they're talking about and have a point of reference.
Quality over quantity.
Right. And
I will take one. We could have one solid round table of this sort a decade.
Yeah.
One a decade. And if you have the right people brothers, exactly, if you have the right people in there, that's all you shoot. If you got the right people in there, once a decade could be too frequent. You might be able to peel that back and say once every 2 decades if you got the right people in there. If you have a whole bunch of Three Stooges replicas up in there, once a century is too much.
This is clown shit, bro.
Pete Game. This wasn't really off Black Americans. This was really a round table with Dominicans. Because that dude, that black dude that you saw with the tattoo, he's Dominican.
Oh,
he's Dominican. He's Dominican. Layla Ashley, the trans man, is Dominican. And the other dude, Jose Joseph Irvin, is Dominican.
Okay.
There's 3 Dominicans.
So basically, this was the DNC roundtable, is what you're telling me.
Of course.
This was the result of the Democrat Party. That's what
you already knew that when Kendrick Sampson, who him and his wife is the one that started this. So Kendrick Sampson is the guy with the glasses. When he started off, he said off rip, you already knew the propaganda. He said this reproductive justice. That's a Democratic talking point.
Well, that's another thing. That's what I also want to get into. We're going to get there. We ain't got there yet, but yes, the whole discussion, the backdrop of the discussion, they make it look like it's a bunch of guys having a conversation about helping the community. But when you read the fine print, and they kind of coined it that way, right? They didn't sell it like it was going to be a discussion on reproductive justice, whatever the fuck that is. You know, they didn't make it. What group of guys do you know? What group of guys do you know get together and discuss reproductive justice? I'll wait. All right. And this is the thing. When guys have opinions that are not curated on abortion. Let's just keep it a buck. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
When guys have opinions that aren't curated on abortion, they tell us to what? Stay out of women's issues.
Yeah.
Ain't got nothing to do with you. Right?
Correct.
But all of a sudden now, when you got your hand up some of these people's ass telling them what to say, pause, but not really. You understand what I'm saying? If we keep it in a buck with some of them cats on the panel, hey, I'm just saying, you got your hand all up their ass telling them what to say. Now, all of a sudden, oh, it's a big tent party. Come on in, fellas, and articulate your opinions about reproductive justice.
Yeah, your opinions.
Right. This is what I'm saying. Like I said, we had somebody locally try the same thing. Get a bunch of effeminized men that were safe and put them on a panel and say that they're articulating the views of men. Ain't nobody, there's nobody on this panel that any men follow. Real solid dudes follow or respect. Not one of them. All right. So this is all bullshit. And I mean, just the things that they're saying. Oh my God. You know, the essence of real power is in the black woman. We got to center everything around the black woman. You know, the true power is found in the black woman, as though the men do not exist.
But see, and here's the thing that jumped out to me, because there was a whole lot of stuff that was jumping out at me.
It was wild.
This thing had my ADHD just flying off the goddamn.
It was wild.
It was crazy. But
it was wild. Yeah.
The one thing, and it's a miracle that it could, the one thing that I couldn't help but notice in damn near every second of what I was hearing was this constant redirection to the womanhood.
Yes.
Womanhood. We're here discussing manhood. It's a round table of men. You even have non-black men. You even got a woman that decided to cash in chips to try and cosplay a man.
Yeah.
So you even have an artificial man. You have all shades of man represented.
Right.
And yet somehow we're still jumping back to woman.
Right.
For starters,
Powell said that men need to just shut the fuck up.
For starters,
and he's supposed to be the elder.
I had some thoughts about that as well.
This goofy nigga.
For starters, if everything about this meeting was reversed and flip-flopped.
Yeah.
If we
it would be pandemonium.
If we switch the genders of the talking points, if we switch the genders involved, this was a woman's roundtable, and they were talking about the reverse of this.
Right.
The number one complaint that you would have heard, first off, it would have aired to begin with, number one. Number two, the predominant complaint you would have heard was that these women are all pick-me's and they're all male-centered. They need to de-center men. That's the problem. Everything's about men. So we must decenter men and manhood. That's a problem if you're a woman.
Right.
But if you're a man, we give you Siskel and Ebert 2 thumbs up if you're centering women. That's number one. And then the further hypocrisy about that is when we talk about women's accountability in anything, whether it's dating dynamics, whether it's the outcomes of the community, child rearing and upbringing, anything. When you talk about what women need to do and what their part in it is, you always hear about how you can always put everything on the woman. The woman is this, the woman is that. You're making women responsible for everything. What about the men? What about the men? What about the men? Because you're not worrying about what the men do. You're only focused on what the woman is doing. And in relationships, you hear women talk about they were tired of leading the relationship. They wanted a man to take charge. Okay, cool. But in this same type of conversation that they love, this is actually, again, putting the onus on the woman because you're looking to the woman's example. These men are not talking about leading.
No, they're not.
There was no leadership talk whatsoever. They're all talking about basically, well, let's let women lead. Let's put women in the driver's seat. Men need to shut up and let women lead. The very same thing you're biatching and moaning and whining and crying about is the very same thing you're applauding.
Right.
This is the definition of a circular firing squad. Everyone pulls the trigger, everyone dies. You sound crazy. The same source of your anxiety and your migraines is the very same thing that you can't stop pulling the slot machine lever for.
Yeah. It's insane.
What are we doing?
Just a couple before I let Ant jump in. I just want to get a couple of the from the reel that I wanted to highlight in particular. When Clifton Powell said Kamala, some guys around him, they thought that Kamala couldn't lead. He was kind of citing that as sexism or misogyny, but he didn't say that they didn't say that she couldn't lead because she was a woman. He just said that they thought she couldn't lead. Brother, listen to yourself. It words matter. You're not making any sense. They may have thought she couldn't lead because she didn't strike him as a particularly good leader. And then he cites the reason why he feels that she might have been able to lead. Well, his sister ran the house and she balanced the books on the house in 25 minutes. And it was $100. Nigga, how in the fuck is that comparable to a woman being able to run the United States of America? What is he talking about? Like, dude, this man, and you're the elder, you're 70 years old, and you talking this goofy ass nigga babble? Brother, I respect your acting abilities, but you look like a damn fool up there. You were saying some utter nonsense. He went on to talk about how mean he was to his girl for no reason, and just a whole bunch of other stuff we're going to get into later. But Clifton Powell was very disappointing. And then the other guy talking about how women are the first wonder of the world because they create. Nigga, what woman you know that creates without a man? Talking this Steve Harvey bullshit. She can make another you. Dumb nigga. You require a man to do that. Brothers, you have to value yourselves. This type of pathetic pandering and ass kissing and whatever the case may be, that shit ain't manhood, bro. I respect women.
Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were.
I respect women. I rock with sisters. I uplift them. Every week we have a segment on our show where we talk about sisters who are doing great things. But this is just clown shit. You're just talking in circles and going nowhere. Go ahead, man.
Real quick, I just wanted to toss my little flavor on. All I was going to say is that whole entire production was sponsored by the soy industry. whatever companies produce BPA.
Clearly.
And anything and everything that is estrogen based or estrogen creating, they had a hand in producing and sponsoring and funding that roundtable. There was so much moisture.
So much. And the way
that's okay.
The way that you help women is not by trying to become them.
That hurts. That hurts everybody.
Let me show you the leadership going around. So
go ahead, Ant.
Consciously, everything he was saying was bunch of fucking bullshit.
Yeah, he's a clown.
My people was listening. My people was listening to that stuff, and they was like, "Yo, why they sound like they trying to sound intelligent and saying nothing?" Because he was trying to mix in this with white supremacy, and it just did not make any fucking sense, right?
Yeah.
And I was telling people, and I made a post about that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you got to watch whenever you see Consciously. I don't listen to shit he say because he's one of those woke agents that white supremacy. They use the Lyndon B. Johnson had the COINTELPRO Pro.
Yeah.
And now they're moving that COINTELPRO Pro more into the woke, under the woke umbrella, having these brothers come into our community that seem like they woke. Because remember, this is the same tactic that they used to kill our brother Darren Seals up there when he was out there. So you gotta watch that shit. Like people be around these guys thinking that they smart and they not. They are very deceptive. But let me go into the around the table. So
real quick before you jump into that, I just want to say it's been confirmed. It's been exposed and confirmed that Consciously actually is a DNC agent. When they broke that story, and I know I think Professor Black Truth got into it too. I think Jason Black touched on it as well too. But when that leak came out last year about Democrat dark money, where basically because when you're doing your campaign promotions for your political campaigns, when you're fundraising and everything, there's money that you can use, but there's certain money that you can't accept for those campaigns. there's also certain ways that you're not allowed to go ahead and campaign. They have black books where they have what they call dark money that gets spent through shell corporations to fund certain people to do certain things. One of the companies that's owned by a Democrat slush fund pays and actually has consciously on, if you look at their page, I got to find the information. If you look at their page, they actually show him as someone that you can actually hire to go ahead and do this stuff. So this legitimately was a DNC operation. See, they know people ain't rocking with the Kama Sutras and everything. So they're trying to do this as a way to kind of browbeat you into thinking that, well, if I'm a real man, then I just say women do everything. So now when they put another female candidate in front of you, you don't check her like you did Kama Sutra. You say, well, I'm a real man, so that means I have to vote for her because she's a woman because she ran Clifton Powell Jr.'s household when he was coming up.
So, and the budget was $100.
So remember, before that, the other guy got exposed. What was the light-skinned dude that was always in the black folks business and with the glasses, little nerdy dude with the glasses?
You mean Talcum X?
Yeah, Talcum X.
Oh shit!
Yeah, we ain't
that guy.
Sean.
Yeah,
Sean,
I don't even remember Sean something. Sean.
Sean Kingston. Sean King.
Sean King.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's still a Muslim. Now he messed up because you can't play with other people like you play with Christians. So I hope he's still on the straight and narrow.
And I had exposed that. I had showed the link between him and George Soros, and ever since that joint, he ain't been the same since. All right, so Daniel Watts. Daniel Watts is not King. It's King. Yeah. Daniel Watts. He's the dark skinned dude, the preacher looking dude, right? He was in The Chi. I don't know if y'all remember The Chi, and that's why I said the preacher dude. He was the corrupted preacher in The Chi that he had a congregation where he was reaping all the benefits from the black people, selling them dreams. He was married to a black woman, but then he only married her for the acceptance of the church, but in actuality, he had a white girlfriend that he was madly in love with and wanted to be with, but he didn't want to do it because he thought the church wouldn't accept him having a white girlfriend. Then you had, so this is basically confirming what Ashton Ford in the comments said. So then you had the guy, Kendrick Sampson, and his wife, the guy with the glasses. Remember, he was an Insecure character, Nathan Campbell. I don't know if you guys remember that episode, but he also had abandonment issues. He was the one who abandoned Issa Rae. So here you come in talking about women this and women that, because you had a woman that put you on and gave you the spotlight. So now this is all coming back to propaganda. So then you had the Jay Alpherson. That's the guy that I forgot what his name was in the show P-Valley, right? And he was the one messing with Mr. Clifford. And he had that scene where he was laying on his back and this big husky ass man in front of him with a beard talking about some. He whispered in his ears and talking about some. Fill me up like a damn gas.
We got you, man.
You gotta understand. No, because you gotta understand the sickness of this shit in order to understand who is at this fucking table.
Christ. I don't. It's 9:30 p.m., not a.m.
Yeah,
not actually going to go to bed after this.
I get that.
I need to be able to sleep.
But this is what people have to understand and see.
Yeah.
Then you got the other guy, Luke James.
Oh, man. Don't get me started on him.
Yeah, nobody talks about his brother that played in The Chi before that quit the show. And there was no women out there campaigning for this man and nothing like this because he wanted to play a heterosexual role. And the creator of the show, which you know is a gay person, had now put in transgender men, trans women in there. And he was like, nah, I don't want to do scenes with a transgender person. And he got Luke James said, yeah, he got blackballed, and then Luke James comes in and takes over that role for a couple seasons. So now and mind you, the guy from P-Valley and Luke James are in heterosexual relationships, And you guys are playing these type of roles, projecting this image to our young boys that you want them to look up to you and be like you. This is crazy. So you're a part of the agenda to push another narrative to create more people in that direction. So when you talk about doing things and supporting Black women, you're also demonizing Black boys in the same time, because what are you're actually selling your soul to project out there. You know, even with Clifton Powell, right? He's a phenomenal actor, but even roles, like you gotta be like Denzel Washington, dog. Some of them roles, he had brothers that said they were rolling up to him thinking that this was real, because he plays it so good that he was a real life pedophile. Like some of these people don't understand and separate art from reality. And he was about to get his ass whooped a couple of times because of the roles he played. Like sometimes you got to be very wary about the roles you play. We've seen that with the guy from Snowfall. He told you after the show, he had to take 8-9 months of therapy to get that mindset out of being a drug dealer, because when you take in these roles, you become a part of them. You know, I talked about that with the Jack Spade dude. Forgot his name, when he was running around here, Captain Jack Spade, and he was slapping people because that's what pirates do. So in his movie, Johnny Depp, he was slapping people, and guess what happened to him? He had domestic violence slapping his wife. You become a part of these roles, so it's very imperative for you to be mindful of the roles you take and the image you project out there at the same time. So when you look at all of these guys, like Ashton Ford said, a lot of these, everybody in the room was non-binary except Mr. Powell, and even in him, he still has to take some accountability because of the roles he played that was very demonic and very fucked up towards our community. So I just want to land our plane on that.
No, you make very good points. And again, I'm very disappointed in that brother for a number of reasons. But, you know, in that setting, you are the only alpha male straight representation for guys like us to represent the majority of men. You're the only one in the room like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
you're the only one. And look at the type of shit he talked about, how unnecessarily mean he was to his woman, how disrespectful he was to his woman, how he cheated on her over and over again, how he broke her heart repeatedly. Nigga, you're killing me. I mean, I you know, and I had a talk with someone that, you know, I'm really tight with my mom a little while ago about you know, his something he said. We'll talk about it because I'm gonna play the clip later, where he was being vulnerable and he was talking about how he learned to love at an older age and all that stuff. And I guess that, you know, that's his truth, and I'm not mad at that. But what I am mad at, and what is kind of pathetic, is that, nigga, it took you that long. I'm not going to sugarcoat that shit, because learning how to love is one thing. But what this nigga was talking about, if you listen to the entirety of the interview, was not how to love per se. You don't have to know how to love to just not be mean to a bitch. He just said he was mean to the woman for no reason. He used to snap at her all the time. He used to cuss her out. He used to be disrespectful to her, just nasty. You were a piece of shit person. And nigga, you telling me you learned how to be decent at age 70? I'm not impressed. Now I'm gonna go on. I got more clips from them, so I'm gonna let y'all cook some more. But again, it's so much with these goofy niggas. It's just like, yo, I had to take out the cuts that I could get, because it is a treasure trove of just manhood. That's what I call this shit. This is the second one. Check this out. Oh, this was a mind blower.
Just the way that he behaved, or like his behavior around women, and how he was with my mom, how he was with his sisters and his mother, and how he was with me. So I'm, as a trans person, and as being his daughter and his little girl at the time, he treated me with such care, and it was the complete antithesis in the way that he treated my mother and the way that he treated his sister. So it was interesting to see him treat my mom like shit, and then be like, no, but my sister's like, I'll kill somebody if someone mess with my sister. I'll kill somebody if someone mess with my mother. I'm like, why don't you bring that same energy to my mother? So
branch off of that. Oh wait.
I mean, and so when in my process, like in my transition, and when I started thinking about how I wanted to show up as a man in this world, it was like I wanted to borrow that softness that he embodied when he was interacting with other women in his family, but not the way that he treated my mother, and what that partner violence looked like, and why. So that I started to question what was his view of my mother, because clearly he didn't see her as family. Not really. He saw her as an incubator that gave birth to his child that he now loves and cares for. And then he has his sisters and his mother that he also cares for and wants to protect. But all the women that he would be engaged sexually with were just that. There were things that I would get pleasure, and they can make me a meal, and that was that.
Personally, you know, I grew up with all women. Like, single parent home, had no grandparents except my grandmother, no grandfather. Both had passed away before I was born. Father wasn't around, and taking care of everybody. So I've always conceded power to women. That's been my nature. I think a lot of, I can't speak for everybody, but I think a lot of black men just don't know, when they say be a man, what does that mean? Yeah. And not even what does that mean? That doesn't mean the same thing for this woman. That doesn't mean the same thing for this woman. And like I said, like even there's not a single same perspective. It's all different. It's all different. We're all figuring it out.
Traditionally, once a white man took his thumb off of us, a lot of us put our thumb on the woman. Yes. So one thing that you talked about as far as like your dad and how you treated your mother, I feel like one privilege it is to not be gay. Not gonna lie, I love being gay. Like, you know, like whether it's not a choice, it's not a choice. But in my life, what I feel is, you know, it was karma for the straight men, and also like to reject what patriarchy and masculinity look like, because I had to choose how I'm going to live my life. A lot of men, they just live based off of the moral code. You don't even know what your own motherfucking morals are. Right. A lot of you just want to have children because that's what you're taught to. You didn't get no education. You're not saying you have to get education. You have no craft. You have no skill. So all you can do is really just have fun and have children. Nigga, fuck you.
Boy, yo, again, nigga, I'm listening to this shit and my blood is boiling because my mom sent me the first clip of Clifton Powell, and I'm like, okay, this clip is missing some context. So I went back to listen more, and I'm like, wait a minute. What the fuck?
You regretted it.
Bro, listen, when you listen to the whole shit, yo, bro, this is a greatest hits reel of attacking black men. That's really what it boils down to. And the biggest issue that I have here, whatever bird brain put this together, right? The attempt to try and bring men into the fold is the same attempt that the Democrats are making, trying to bring men into the fold. When you have all this feminine energy all over the place, you have to have balance. You want to bring men into the fold, but you don't want to hear what any real men have to say. There are no real men at this table, including Clifton Powell. You an old nigga, that's the best you got. You ain't no real man as far as I'm concerned. I hate to say it, but that's just how I feel. You know, you got this trans person that isn't even a fucking male, right? Sitting up there telling us, oh, you know, that they wanted to gravitate to the softer parts of their father, you know, that they used to care for their sisters, but not the, you know, the part of him that treated his mother like shit. This person is talking about modeling themselves after a man, and they're not even a man. They have no frame of reference to draw from whatsoever other than trauma. The other gay guy starts talking, and he starts going on about how, oh, you know, the white man took his thumb off of us and we put our thumb on the black woman. You ain't never had a woman, nigga. What are you talking about? Now, there is some truth to that, but he ain't seen it other than to see somebody else do it. You understand what I'm saying? And again, there's no balance. He's just speaking from a place of trauma. The other guy's also speaking from a place of trauma. The other guy, hey, you know, all my life I grew up with all women. I conceded my power to women. What does a man mean for the, and he started talking about men and you know how we don't understand. We're all just trying to figure it out. No, nigga, you're just trying to figure it out. But he's applying this to all of us. And he's saying, okay, well, even when you do learn how to be a man, well, what does it look like for that woman? What does it look like for that woman? Why are you defining manhood through the lens of what is acceptable to women, you goofy nigga? This is what is taking place on this panel. And my head is exploding. I'm like, dude, nobody's calling this shit out. Because none of, you know, my favorite podcasters that I listen to, as of yet, I just got back day before yesterday, so I don't know. Nobody, to my knowledge, has called this out like they need to. You understand what I'm saying? But this shit is outrageous. The other guy talks about how he loves being gay, and he said something about how him being gay is the karma of straight men. What the fuck does that even mean? What is this nigga talking about? Yo,
put the LSD, put the acid, the molly, put the narcotics down. I don't care, man. I don't care if it's prescribed by a physician. Put the pharmaceuticals down and the herbals down immediately.
Then let me park the Chevy real quick. Yeah. Then he goes on to say, and I'll park the Chevy with this, that, you know, he had to reject patriarchy and masculinity. They talked about that the whole goddamn show, including Clifton Powell, rejecting patriarchy and masculinity. Okay, so we're men though. Why are we rejecting masculinity? And he said that then after that, you know, the majority of these black men out here that want to have babies, he ain't trying to have no babies with no black woman, but he's talking about what we do, right? They have nothing to offer. You ain't got no skill, you ain't got no trade, none of that shit. And you know, you want to go out here and give a woman a baby? What the fuck make you think she want a baby with you? Fuck you, nigga. I'm not trying to throw shade, but I'm just telling the facts how they are. Most adult black men do not have children. The epidemic that we have of children out here being born out of wedlock are 2 black women. Black women, unfortunately, be fucking on the same niggas. You know what I'm saying? And the black women are the ones that have the single mother households. You don't have a bunch of single father households. So yes, they are. And I've had women tell me this. They just wanted a child for me. They didn't want marriage. That's too much responsibility. No, nigga, just give me a baby. I like your eyes. This type of shit happens all the time. You hear them online. Do a search right now on TikTok. Black women who do not want to be married, but want children. Thousands of videos will come up. There is a problem specifically with that. And he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about because he's gay. He don't talk to no women. Go ahead, man. This shit got me fit to be tied over here.
Like you, when you started out the show, you was like, you kind of agree with the guy Joseph Irvin for getting on Clifton Powell, and like what Ashton Ford was saying. What I didn't like was the way that the young man lashed out on him. There was no access to counseling therapy for black men 40, 50 years ago for him to work around his trauma for losing his mom at the age of 4. So I will say this, there wasn't much access for the average man, black man around 40, 50, but Clifton Powell, just like Robert Kelly, R. Kelly, you have the money. So there's no excuses for that. You know what I'm saying? Over the years, you are around people who are known to be in the field of having therapy. You just were ignorant in your mind that you got the money and nobody could tell you nothing. What he did say that I did feel like was kind of true was that a lot of old people wait till they get old to change.
Yeah.
And some of that comes from the fact of they about to die. So now they get close to God and they want to change their life the right way. Even a lot of racists do that. A lot of racists try to cover up their racism and do all type of charity work for black folks before, at an old age, to see if they could get into the gates of heaven that way. But I will say, like, as far as when it comes down to Clifton Powell, I admire the fact that at least he was alive to say, I need to change. The only thing that I don't like about Clifton Powell is, and a lot of these guys on here, just like he said, the guy doesn't even speak to his own parents for 4 years and has some healing to do with himself. A lot of these people on the fucking panel need healing. I think Luke James said he's going through constant healing. And I even think I heard, if I'm not mistaken, Luke James said he was adopted, right?
Yeah,
did you hear that? Okay,
I didn't even know that.
I tried to Google that shit, and it was talking about, oh, there's no evidence of him being adopted, but he said it. And see, they be trying to bury shit like that, which is very critical. I knew I heard that shit. So he has abandonment issues, and he was raised by foster parents. So his whole outtake is totally different, and he should be worried about something totally different than to be on this platform. Him, Powell, and the other guy, and these other gentlemen don't need to be in front of a microphone. If you're going through therapy, wait till you get to a place where you're healed enough to have these conversations before getting on this stuff and being a train wreck. And that's why when you have unhealed people like the Joseph guy going at it with Clifton Powell, two ignorant motherfuckers ready to about to fight. And I'm like, this is a train wreck. This ain't a round table. A round table is more clean and more healthy atmosphere than what these motherfuckers was providing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and even Clifton, like, he's talking about he's healing, but dude, you just yelled out, oh man, I need a drink. I need a drink. And I'm like,
okay,
why the fuck are we talking about having alcohol? This is our community so ready to dope ourselves up and cloud our thoughts. And that's the fucked up issue we have in our community, because we run to alcohol as the stress reliever. And a lot of black men, you got to have alternative ways, man. Just get some healthy juice, get a juicer or something, you know. And one thing I respect about Phife Dawg, rest in peace to Phife Dawg from Tribe Called Quest. Phife Dawg, one of my favorite lyrics from him was, I get loose off of orange juice. You know what I'm saying? He never talked about no alcohol and nothing like that. He said, man, I can rhyme at a dime. Just give me some orange juice and I'm good.
I rock with Tribe for that.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to have more men getting in the mindset of putting down that liquor and start to get into a clear conscience and learn how to do business and have conversation, and also build a lot of emotional intelligence. Because I can tell you right now, none of these niggas on here had emotional intelligence, because everybody wanted to be heard. It wasn't like the one guy said, and I agree with that point. He said, yo, he kept Powell kept interrupting people. He said, listen, one of the things that we have a problem with is we listen only to respond, and we don't listen to actually hear what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that's always been a point that I always strive about, to listen, to understand, and not listen to react. And I tell that a lot to women, because they so quick to pop off and get triggered and not listening to what men are saying. And that's where the disconnect comes from as well.
That's why they hated Kevin Samuels.
I'll let my claim on that.
Go ahead, Bobby Drake. What you got, gang?
Oh God, what I got is the beginnings of a headache. That's what I got.
This shit crazy, man.
Man, look. And again, I like what you all were hitting on, the fact that in addition to these being men who have, out of their own mouths, through their own sharing on that panel, have basically said in many ways how they are unfit or unqualified to really speak on and for manhood. There's probably a bunch of different topics that they could all get together and really chop it up over, and you could really get some proper squeeze out of the orange to get some juice from it. This was not it. And it's shameful and disgusting that the powers that be would put this together for these nefarious purposes, when I believe that all of these individuals could have actually come together and had a round table on, again, a number of different subjects that they all have the capacity to weigh in on. And there could have been some real value that was actually extracted from that, even though it was a real rogues gallery that was pieced together. there was still some value that could have been extracted from what they had to say. Unfortunately, they were being used for nefarious means and ends. And so a lot of that was wasted. And you would really have to make an effort to sit through and try to sieve and filter out any particular gems or insights. And to be honest, there's literally so much feces and raw sewage and projectile vomit and diarrhea you have to sift through. I don't know if it'd be worth it. You would literally
a lot.
You would literally be spending $3 to try and get 4 quarters back. I don't know if that's worth that kind of investment to anybody. I don't know if you're that down bad for some game. But these gentlemen, and I'm using that term very loosely and very flexibly, plain and simply wasn't it. And even when you did have some occasion, I don't know if we're going to get to that point. I'm just going to point it out as well too. But even with everything, and I definitely didn't see Mr. Clifton Powell in a better light after this, but
No.
I wouldn't necessarily say I saw him in a terrible light, but I just would say it was disappointing. But even still, out of the things that I can say, for most of the roles that he's taken on and the way he's conducted himself, at least publicly, some of these revelations were not too good. But for the most part, I can definitely say that he's been one of the, I wouldn't say handful necessarily, but out of the ones who've had the longevity that he's had, the relevance that he's had, and the capacity that he's had in his acting chops, he's been one of the ones who've been on the right side of things as far as representing black masculinity and manhood publicly in that regard. No major scandals, no crazy things, not an abundance of these sissified roles or whatnot. He's done pretty good as far as towing the road. He's no Denzel Washington, but he's definitely been more in that company than on the opposite side of the spectrum. And I tip my hat because it's hard to do. It's hard to do that. I had a problem when he was sharing some of the things that he did that could at least been more on the manhood spectrum of the discussion they were having. And he was basically getting dogpiled on and disrespected. Even with the things he said that I disagree with, again, based on reputation and what he's done thus far, I got too much respect for him to come at him sideways or disrespect him. I probably would be calling him Mr. Powell. It bothered me to see them come at his neck as an elder and as someone who, again, has done more than most of those dudes at that table would ever been able to do. And they come at him sideways and just treat him with raw, straight up disrespect. That bothered me. Because, and again, he wasn't necessarily on this stage really repping for the brand as far as manhood and masculinity goes. But when he had his couple of flare-ups when he was expressing himself, and he certainly wasn't expressing anything that was as crazy off the cuff as some of the other ones were, it bothers me that you got a dude who basically has been married to one woman, dealt exclusively with women, doesn't wear skirts, no limp-wristed activity. He's not out here talking on a whole nonsensical down with the patriarchy, rah, rah, rah.
He did say that.
And, well, to a degree. But because he was... Oh, he did say it?
He said it.
Well, as probably the least offensive offender on there, there's a whole rogues gallery of offenders.
I can agree with
They're
that.
coming at his neck sideways like that in a way that I know for a fact, I couldn't necessarily prove it, but I'd be willing to put money on it if we could make the experiment. I'd be more than willing to put serious bread down at the fact that they wouldn't have come at his neck that way if he was the dude who was openly saying that he's gay. They wouldn't have come at his neck if he said that, well, if he revealed that, well, he's a trans man, he started life off as a girl, as a woman, then transitioned. If he was doing any of the other nonsense that you heard, they weren't going to come at him at his neck like that. Even if they didn't like what he had to say, they would have respected his mind, they would have been back on it. But because this is a heterosexual black man that, for better or worse, is standing on heterosexuality, that means that we can bop, take shots, it's open season on him. I had a big problem with that, and I didn't escape me.
Fair. Okay, that was okay. I thought you was okay. No, I thought you had some more. No, that's fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do think that there's a certain level of decorum that you approach an elder with. You know, when the people in the chat say they really didn't like that, I can agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I definitely agree with that. But brother gotta at the same time, when you're an elder and you're coming into a space, people are expecting you to upgrade them with some game. And unfortunately, as much as I respect that brother's talent, he didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that the way they came at him was right, but he could have done himself some favors by really, you know what I'm saying, being the elder in the room and owning that and really giving them some game. But some of the stuff that he was saying, unfortunately, it was a train wreck. You know, and that's the very unfortunate. He's the only elder in the room, and he ain't saying much. And that was painful to watch, but that's just kind of how it went. But you are correct, and I can agree with that. You know, they could have gave this brother some more, you know, some more respect, some more decorum, you know, because they didn't seem to want to let him speak. That is true. I can agree with that. All right, so we got a little more here. Go ahead.
Well, no, I just wanted to say, just to touch up on that, the whole theme of the of that roundtable basically was really the hobbling and the assassination of manhood, if we're being honest. So, especially now, he might be a masculine man to a degree, but as far as fully owning and walking in that, that isn't him. And I'm not necessarily saying that to slight him, but I'm saying when you already aren't really at that level, you're not really heavy with it, and you're in an atmosphere that basically is trying to suck it out the room, it's going to be very difficult to walk around that. The Clifton Powell that we saw and got out of that roundtable might have looked completely different if he was featuring a roundtable with some solid heavy brothers that fully own and encompass the man again. Because, and once again, I'm not saying that he isn't a masculine man, but I'm saying if you're not on that other end of the spectrum, if you're stuck in quicksand and you ain't got no strength, it's gonna be hard to get about that thing. If you're a strong brother, you can go a couple inches down, but you can pull yourself out the muck and mire, then you're good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dehumanize you for not being super burly and strong to do that. But if you're in an atmosphere that basically is trying to suck it out of the room, it's going to be hard to be that one lone voice in this. And again, you saw what happened when he tried to assert his piece. They jumped on the brother.
Yeah.
So again, if you're not that kind of dude that's like, hey, fuck you, kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Go chat to your mother. If you ain't got that kind of spirit where you can say, no matter what, I can have 100 moist dudes in the room trying to come at me and ain't none of them gonna hold me. If you're not that kind of dude, it's gonna be hard to hold your own in that capacity. Yeah. And especially once they've already demonstrated, hey, we low key passive aggressive, not hostile with you. So let's go ahead and keep it rolling.
It was something, man. Oh, here's more from the alphabet mafia. Here we go.
The smartest group in America. They're also the most underpaid. If you want that money, ask for it. You know, whenever you go to that interview, let them know what you want. And the same thing as far as like a job, how you can switch out a job is no different than a man. And you know how we're talking about like the moral basis of people not knowing themselves and having babies. A lot of men don't got shit to contribute. If you can't even commit marriage to a motherfucking woman, what makes you think that she wants to commit to having a baby? That 9 to 10 months, that can fuck up that whole baby's life. I think also with certain conversations, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or whatever, you're still a man. Whenever a woman wants to open up and talk to you about certain things, that's when you want to talk about it. Like, you can't be overbearing, because with patriarchy, with masculinity, it's kind of like you trying to talk about something you want to talk about and shouldn't even want to talk about that. That's you exerting your masculinity over somebody.
It's the greatest hits. It's the greatest hits, dude. This nigga, like, dog.
When he passes, however long into the future that is, I hope he donates his body to science so we can dissect his brain and figure out, is it actually structured like the rest of people? Because I need to know. I'm probably going to regret it, but I need to know what is actually taking place between his ears. How does that work?
I I don't know.
You
He
gotta
sound like he's just making up shit as he goes along. And again,
it's a magic trick. We're just pulling it out the hat.
Again, and I want to make sure I underscore this. This is a group very much like the little local thing we had. This is a group of men being put up to discuss men's issues chosen by women. Okay? They got the safest niggas they could find. You understand? And they literally told them what to say. There's a whole segment in this damn show where they talk about abortion rights. They just go on and on and on. Dude, what? First of all, you understand what I'm saying? I'm not, and the majority of black people are not in favor of abortion. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? The majority of us are not in favor of it. In those situations where it's necessary, then okay, but the majority of black people, just from a religious standpoint, we don't support that shit. You understand? And we only tolerate it because the Democrats, who are not openly racist to us, it's one of their policy proposals, one of the things that they tout in their party. We don't like it. We tolerate it because it comes with the white folks that are the least racist towards us, at least in our face. You understand what I'm saying? But like, he's just talking on and on. First of all, he starts off with incorrect information. He's that same bullshit about black women are the most educated group. No, they're not. No shade. You know what I'm saying? Because people hear that, oh, you hate the black women. They're just not. They were the most enrolled. Some goofy nigga took that statistic and ran with it and started saying they were the most educated, and everybody just started repeating it, just like the statistic that says there's more brothers in jail than in college. That's bullshit. Just like the statistic that says that black men don't take care of their kids. That's bullshit. That's also bullshit. And the thing is, when you go on a panel and you just start talking these nonsensical things, just one after the other. Okay, fine. You got that wrong. Then he starts again talking about how, most black men don't have anything to offer to black women. What makes, you niggas think that women want kids from you, whatever the case may be. And then he ends it. I don't know, Bobby. You got this one, Bobby, because this kid, I'm at a loss of words at this point. There's so much wrong with it, and he won't shut the fuck up. He just keeps talking because he thinks he's so informed, and there's no one there to check him on all the things that he's saying that are incorrect. And people, are seeing this and they're accepting it as fact. Nothing he said was correct. How do you, I don't know, Aunt Bobby, what y'all got? This particular kid.
Yeah, what he said made no sense because he said women need to go into the office and demand what they want. We already know statistically across the board, black women aren't getting the money like that. It's already lined up for different demographics. Like white men go in and get a certain amount, Hispanic men get a certain amount, black men get a certain amount. Black women are at a level where they're getting a certain amount. It's not a whole thing where you can go in there and they're going to give you pay. Remember, we had big ear, goofy ass Obama going into office saying that he wanted to get more pay for his white mother because he saw his white mother working in that field like that. And he wanted to make sure that other women got paid rightful amount as men. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's a whole process and every institution runs different. I know a lot of black women that don't get paid the just dues that they supposed to because they have a different type of system set up for how they get men to get paid and women to get paid. So for him to go and say you could go in there and just demand, that's like a slap in the face of black women saying that you aren't making the correct effort to get the money you demand. And it doesn't work like that.
No,
you know what I'm saying? And nobody's correcting them on that bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you don't have, it's not like you got straight men coming into a realm of a gay space and then talking about gay issues. Like that shit doesn't make sense. Like, how are you talking about something that you don't know anything about? Like, you're on one side of the fence speaking on the other side of the fence. That doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? But when you look, I looked his profile up. I found him on IG. He has 15,000 followers. He probably just got a little bit more. He probably was less than that and probably reached to 15,000 followers now after that. Nobody's following this dude like that. Nobody is even trying to look for this guy to find out information or anything like this. This dude was just put on a platform as an opportunity. And you could tell when certain people get on platforms and use to get an opportunity because they want to be heard so bad. Like they're craving for attention. So he's trying to use this to use as a step ladder to get to where he wanted to get to. I think in his bio, he was talking about that he wanted to be this and that and some entertainer and all type of different crap going on. I think he's eventually a content creator, something like that. But you could tell that there's no genuine in his stance. It's only about using this as an opportunity. And what better way to get your following up than to pander to women? We see that with Derek Jackson and the other buffoon with tonight's conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Ace Metaphor, Yada Awakening.
Yeah, so that's what they do. They know that if they pander to black women, they'll take off to where they need to get to. Just that quick. I'll land my plane on that.
Yeah, and there's something very key in there I want to make sure I talk about that that you were just speaking on when he's talking about the jobs. True enough, yeah, you can't just go in and demand what you want. I get the larger message, to at least have the mentality for the ask. I get that. But you don't just go in there and ask for it and they snap your fucking fingers and that's it. It just don't work like that.
It don't.
And and I used to hire people. I can tell you it don't work like that. There's a very pronounced scale, and you talk about the other part of what he said, which is it's just you can switch out the jobs. It's just like a man. No, nigga, you can't. Again, you know what I'm saying? Here's a fundamental misunderstanding of how these things actually work. He's only 26. So maybe it's, his lack of maturity. No, it doesn't work like that. The pay gap, that's a whole other show. But the pay gap issue that women are always complaining about has very little to do with an actual pay gap and more to do with the fact that women just don't want to do certain jobs, period. This is a fact. This has been proven many times over. You don't see women in HVAC. You don't see women in construction. You don't see women in most tech jobs. You don't see women in most jobs that make the most money. They don't want to do those things. They don't want to work hard. And in some cases, they physically just can't. They're not able to do the labor. So without that understanding, no, you can't just switch out your job just like a man. No, you cannot. It doesn't work that way. So I just wanted to add that little nugget in there. This dude has no idea. Real quick, Bobby, and then we'll play the last clip.
Hey, real quick, Bobby, I'll let you chime in quick, but I just want to tell the people, if you're trying to get more money, whether you're a man or a woman, go after the title. Get the title of the job versus asking for more money. Like if you can level up to another title, like say you're a regular employee, if you could get an assistant supervisor or a supervisor, even though it might be a little jump in money and not the desire you want, just get the title and go apply to other jobs. There's so many jobs that have supervisor positions that you will make the money that you want to make. And you bounce around that way versus trying to demand a certain level of pay from that company.
Agreed. Bobby Drake.
There was another wrinkle to that I was waiting to see if either of you guys are going to point out, and you covered a lot of it, but I think there's one significant chunk that you left out as far as what he was talking about. Just even with that, you have to understand that he's living to an extent, as far as that's concerned, in the workforce. He's living a somewhat different reality from the rest of us because he's an openly gay black man. So he has more. So he has more.
Different for him.
He has more in common with black women than black men because he checks the box as a dual minority.
Yeah.
So he's more valuable to workforces that are looking to go ahead and meet certain equal opportunity DEI hirings. If any of us go to apply to a job, well, we're black, so we have that as a minority. But if they go with him, especially if he comes in there with his little Jerry curl or he has his little rainbow pin or whatever to make himself look obviously such, and that's not taking shots. I'm saying if he has any mannerisms or if it's clear either because of what he's wearing or how he comports himself that this is a gay homosexual man, he's a dual minority. He's black and he's a man, but he's black and he's gay.
Yeah.
So now we got two for the price of one. Not only are we implying a black person, so we have the darky requirement, he also likes men. So now you really can't say anything sideways at us. How are we not How are we not an equal opportunity employer?
Yeah.
We have a black man and he's gay. So just like with the black woman, it's a twofer. About exactly, Stanford, he's a safe hire also. And that's another thing as well, too. Let's not talk about for the brothers who have the experience in the corporate sphere or Wall Street or places. These black dudes, they come in the picture and don't let them be halfway attractive, in good shape. They carry themselves well. They can literally walk out the whole office with all of the female employees and all the managers that's busy trying to pilfer among their the flock, so to speak, feeling some kind of way about him. But the gay dude, he's safe. He's going to get the work done. He's going to probably fawn over you too if you like that kind of thing. And he's not going to be a competition. He's not going to be another rooster in the hen house. He's basically going to be another hen. He's basically a eunuch for all intents and purposes.
He's no threat. You took the words right out of my mouth. A eunuch. He's no threat to anything. He's no threat to the operation.
So the manager can still be the cock of the walk, the big boss rooster, whatever. No threat.
Yeah.
I've talked to brothers who have been held back or have been outright fired basically because they were getting too much attention from other women. Not just from the men, but there have been some women in HR who let certain dudes go or even fired other women before because they were trying to angle for him or he was causing too much of a ruckus in that regard, so they let him go. It was a problem. So this happens. This is real rap raw. So
all the time.
For him to talk like that, bro, you about as safe as it gets. You are the definition of a safety blanket.
Facts.
And this is again another reason. If you're talking about manhood and masculinity, this is another level where, and I don't fault him for that again. I don't necessarily fault him for that, but this is another case of you don't understand what it is you're weighing in on.
That's true.
There's other conversations as black men because we do have our LGBT brothers and sisters. We're not going to toss them out and say they don't matter. They don't have a voice. If we're talking about the general black experience, yes, you have a valuable input and say on that. You have a valuable voice that can be lended to that space. But if we're talking about black manhood masculinity, this is just another example of why you can't really speak in on this because you don't understand. If anything, you need to be on the sideline learning, wow, I didn't know that it was like that for my black brothers. My black heterosexual brothers. I didn't know this.
Exactly.
You are in a student's position. You need to be back there with your textbook, with your notebook, taking diligent notes. You don't need to be up here at the lectern with your chalk and with your little pointer tapping the board and trying to give lessons.
Facts.
You aren't qualified for this.
All facts. And you know that there's something that you cooked on that. You cooked on that. And A. Stanford is in the comments cooking so bad. I'm about to bring that sister up on the stage. She cooking. You know what I'm saying?
A. Stanford.
That's a sister?
Yeah.
Brother, okay, so you know, okay, well, A. Stanford, brother, sister, whoever you are, you got the whole hibachi going.
I'm just saying.
Benny Hannes is missing one of their chefs tonight. I don't know how they managed it.
Facts. She brought up no TJ Holmes, you dig? No TJ Holmes scandals, and that's something real. Like with a lot of these white men in these corporate offices, they don't like no black man coming around snatching up all the white women's. They hate that shit.
Boy.
snatching up any women.
Don't let them start looking at you with the O.J. Simpson glasses. Oh, you gonna get all that.
Look, listen.
Tires flat in the parking lot, the whole shebang.
I've been that guy, man, where they're targeting you, trying to put some shit on you or whatever the case may be. You hugging somebody else and they trying to file sexual harassment charges because you hugged some other girl.
It ain't even you. Calm down.
It wasn't even you.
You want me to hug you, brother? Come on.
I was all up on her when I hugged her, so therefore she felt harassed. This was a week after the sexual harassment class. Black men, you better watch your ass in these corporate spaces. Because these bitches, they really be trying to line you up something serious. That actually happened. You understand? And yeah, you know, this little upstart who don't know nothing. You mentioned, Ant, that, you know, this guy don't really have no following. So how the fuck did he get on the panel? You understand? How did he get on the goddamn panel if he doesn't have a following?
Yeah, with celebrities. Yeah.
Booty goons. It's the booty goons. You dig? And to quote our good brother Ray J, it's the booty goons. This is what happens. You know what I'm saying? And they will do you like this every time, you know, to the point where you're having a discussion about manhood and there are no men in the conversation. This is why shows like Manversations 2020 are necessary, because if it's not that extreme with the booty goons, on the other extreme, you got the Neanderthals. You understand what I'm saying? Fuck these hoes, man. These bitches ain't shit. I'll bust that hole in the mouth. You got pussy ain't got no face. You got them goofy niggas.
Something else. Let me throw. I meant to say this before I forgot. I just remembered again. Let me throw this log on the fireplace right quick as well too. Now, because we understand the faces and we know who's behind those puppets, we recognize what it is. We can definitely say that it was definitely a psyop. That's the COINTELPRO 2.0, 2.5, no doubt. But at the same time, because we have women out there who are agreeing with these men and they're nodding their heads and saying that this was a good thing, this was very valuable. Oh, we like what they were saying. These men, these are real men. They know what they're talking about. Understand. If you saw what took place and you heard what took place, especially in its entirety, I'm not saying some clips, but if you saw the whole thing in its entirety and that resonated with you, and you left out feeling like something profound took place, like that was good, or I think we're on the right track, this is what we needed. If that's your mindset, I'm pretty sure that your same inability to properly judge in this situation is also reflective and indicative in your love life as well too. Are you choosing the men that you date and have relations with the same lenses that you're viewing this roundtable with?
Come on now. See, this is the problem.
And that's why this is not even a 360 discussion or an analysis. It's 720 degrees, because remember, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you see those dudes up there and you see real proper manhood being reflected, or if you're saying this is what black manhood looks like or it's supposed to look like, this is how it sounds. Is this also how you're choosing the men that you've dealt with, and how's that going for you?
That's 100% how they're choosing, and that's why they're so fucked up out here.
Exactly. Do you have a whole a whole dead sheet?
Yeah.
A murderer's oath cast that you've dealt with all kind of trauma and baggage.
Yeah. This is what it is. And then they wonder, they turn around and talk about all the men ain't shit. Oh, fuck these niggas up. No.
If you see
it's the men you're choosing.
If you see safety in that, that means you do not have what it takes to choose what is safe in men for yourself.
Facts.
Because the solid men that the actual solid men out there would either be repulsed by those dudes or they'd be repulsed by them, but it would be an oil and water situation. So if you feel safe in the danger, and if you feel in danger in the safety, that means that you need a whole entire recalibration from your nervous system right on down to your instincts. Your picker is off.
Yeah.
When we say choose better, that ain't it.
Facts.
And if for you, that's it. That means that you need to go ahead and take yourself into the shop and we need a breakdown. Something ain't it.
All right, I'm gonna play this one real quick. And then we're going to do the crown check. We got to close out. We run a little over. But I had to play this one because this is the one everybody talking about. This was the least valuable clip in the whole show to me, but I'm going to play it anyway, just because everybody talking about it.
Mother's fault is not your father's fault. It's not your fault. We were born into 450 years of post-slavery PTSD. I am 69, be 70 in March. I've just learned how to love. Our parents didn't know how to love. Their parents didn't know how to love. And if I could say anybody maybe had an edge, it was the women. That's why I celebrate Black women. I live with a psychiatrist, forensics detective, gangster, loving Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, who's just been patient with me to teach me how to love. But in closing on this, because I don't want to get too deep, I called my buddy, man. I said, I'm fucking up, bro, really bad. I'm fucking up. So I never been monogamous. So I don't even fucking know what it is.
What age did you become a monogamous?
Today. No, but let me just say what it is. So when I hurt my girl, which I've done over and over, and I commend her for even being with me, and I said it in my podcast, and I'm gonna say this and stop. I called one of my partners who was brilliant. He said, when you hurt somebody, where you leave them is where they stay. So I think our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, the people that raised us, those men who treated the women outside the house nice, but then put the thumb on the grandmama and put the thumb on the girlfriend or whoever, they are all, it all comes from out of all of that. And I think that's what makes me excited that we're going to bring the women and the uncles and we need to bring them all in here. But go ahead, what you want to say?
The one thing that I just want to talk about in what Luke brought up was like accountability. Like, yes, we can talk about, what our families did to us, all this, all that, but eventually, and I know white people try and say this and I really don't like that, but eventually it comes a point where you have to decide, how do I want to live my life? And you didn't do this entirely, because everybody in here, several people have talked about going to counseling. Have that upon yourself. Stop waiting for a woman to tell you what you need to do. Take that upon yourself.
Let me address that real quickly. For me, I didn't know fucking how to love.
Can I say one more thing? No, I have to say this, because another thing that happens is, too, you live your life for so long, and I'm not meaning no disrespect by this.
It's all right, just say it, bro.
But when you hit your 60s and your 70s, I want to be right.
Okay, but let me...
I want to live my life right. I want someone to take care of me and protect me, and that's what a lot of women have issues with.
Because I'm living it right the fuck now.
As I said, I said 60s and 70s.
Let me say this.
Don't overtalk me.
I'm gonna fucking overtalk you because you're talking out of line.
But you're not gonna disrespect me.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
I am.
I just learned how to love at 60.
I do.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Oh, I do.
Because you can't
I do. I do.
You don't know it, nigga.
I do.
I'm good. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, actually, Clifton got loud and cussed at him first, if we're being totally honest. However, again, those two were both kind of turned up in that exchange, and I don't feel like they needed to be. I felt
real quick. When did he cuss at him?
He said, I'm going to fuck through it right now. That's the first time anyone raised their voice or yelled. I'm going to fuck through it right now. That's what he said to the guy. And then he
but the guy was saying, like, yeah, one thing I hate is that y'all old motherfuckers wait till, like, he was throwing shots at him personally.
No, he didn't say that.
Yeah, he said that.
He said that's what the women are tired of, is that, you guys, you're older and you want to be right. And that's what he didn't say, old motherfuckers. He just said, you got y'all older guys, you get older and you want to be right. And he said, I mean no disrespect, but you get older and you want to be right. And that's kind of true.
I don't take that bullshit. That a lot of women do that dumb shit, that little backhanded compliment bullshit that they throw shots.
I don't think that's where it was coming from. I think he has a valid point, because people do get older and they want to be right. I do agree. I agree with that.
No, I agree with it in another form, but this guy here, I don't take that shit. I take that shit as a slide, because this dude wanted to be heard. He wanted his moment. This was his diva moment, and he took it. I don't respect that. Fuck
what the way just from my interpretation, some of the things that he was saying was accurate. at least he started out on track and nothing else. But again, I heard. Let me put it this way: I heard what he said, and then I also heard how he said it.
I agree.
What he said tracked. What he said was on point. And for the most part, I can't take anything away from that.
It was.
But the way he said it, everything from the tone, but also the way he kind of strung the words together, I also heard how he was doing that, and that was shady as hell.
I think he's just a little sassy, and I think he's just sassy.
That definitely doesn't help anything.
That don't help. You know what I'm saying?
But
I don't like hearing niggas like that talk at all.
But literally, when I was listening to it, like it was almost like a split personality type thing. The left ear was kind of like he's got a point there, but the right ear was like, you out of pocket for that. Like he need to really check that.
Yeah.
So I kind of had like a split reaction on that.
I can see
but
why
that was intentional.
Set off.
That was intentional. He knew what he was doing. And even if he didn't convey it the best, I could hear, and especially when he's trying to say, I don't want to get too deep with it. Really, what he was saying was, I think he was genuine about the moment that he was having. There's no reason for him to be dishonest about it. But I believe that he was still processing. And he even said, when did you become monogamous? Today? Because, he's still struggling with it. He's trying to work through that.
Yeah.
That's probably a sore subject. He's probably, the guilt and the weight of the times that he's hurt his wife is really fresh on him. That's still a raw wound. And he decided to be transparent about that in that moment, which, again, that's the thing where that was definitely not a healing circle. That was not the time to share. That's what once you've done the work, you've got some healing. There's like a nice little scab over that. You can maybe go ahead and put that out there and be vulnerable like that in that moment. But, and this for the brothers that are actually trying to be vulnerable and actually trying to be emotionally intelligent, you have to recognize when and where. You have to have proper governance, just like with security. You have to be mindful of your governance.
Yeah.
You got this health information right here. You can't just drop the health information in the public library. You have to be mindful of that. You have to guard that. That's HIPAA. Protect that.
That was not the time nor the place for that.
And sure enough, you had that little sassy wolf right there that came in and got his little nibbles out of it, and he felt some kind of way, as he should have. But that was on you for not recognizing this isn't the time or the space to go ahead and divulge this information. But he was definitely being shady.
I think he got triggered by that. I think he got triggered because he said, when did you been monogamous? He said, shit, today. And I think he was thinking about his mom and his dad, how his dad treated his mom, and got triggered. And then he said, oh, I just hate, I got to get this on my chest. I just hate when guys wait till they get old.
Very possibly. Very possible.
I'm still alive. I still got time to make change. I mean, should I have like my favorite phrase, like one of my favorite sayings goes, the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago. The second best time is right now. He was long late to the party. But at the same time, we're not going to give him a full A because he got the assignment right. But then we're going to at least give him his D. He showed up late with the homework, but yeah.
Two things can be true. I absolutely appreciate and respect Clifton Powell's willingness to be vulnerable and to share his experience to try and help others. Right? I absolutely respect and appreciate that. However, again, not the time nor the place. And when you do open up and you become transparent like that, you also leave yourself open to criticism, because it is also a valid criticism to say, well, goddamn, nigga, what took you till you were 70 to try to act like a decent human being? Two things are true, and it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, when I look at his experience, not knowing how to love, I can kind of understand a little better than the other shit that he said, where he was just not even being a decent human being to this woman. And he was hurting her repeatedly, and he knew it. Nigga, you don't need to know how to love in order to stop fucking hurting somebody over a period of years. That's bullshit.
True.
And so you bullshitted yourself for the last however many years, and you might still be bullshitting yourself now because you said you became celibate or monogamous today. That was kind of cringy. Nigga, you are aware that every time you step out on your woman, you hurt her, right? You supposedly healed, but you just became monogamous today. It ain't sit right.
That's why I say he should have curated the question towards Mr. Powell a different way for an audience. That's why I said this whole shit was a shit show. It wasn't about trying to make it better for the viewers to understand the situation. It was just about pointing fingers and demonizing this person and getting a viral moment. And yeah, you're right. You said the right thing.
There was
Instead
a better
of
way to do that.
curating, yes, curating it so you can have healthy conversations and understand the perspective to make change so the viewers see it and say, oh shit, okay, that's valid on both sides.
Facts. That's what it is. It's very well said, brothers. All right, so let's go ahead and get into my favorite segment. You know, you already know what it is, man. You already know what it is. The Crown Check segment, goddamn.
This is the Crown Check segment where we honor our queens. Respect.
Shout out to our Crown Check candidate for this week. We're going to talk to our good sister, Jamie. She showed out at the BAFTAs and she called out some shit that I felt needed to be called out. Sister Jamie, step up to the goddamn screen.
First, say a big shout out to Mike and Delroy. Like, let's continue to honor them for how they handled that in real time, the grace and the dignity that they exercised, and the whole home team, everybody that was out there, like, really carried themselves well. I think the events this weekend exposed a couple things. Institutionally, we still don't understand what inclusion means. Just because you invite someone into a space, but you don't provide the necessary resources to keep them and everyone else in that room safe by them being there, that's not inclusivity. That's exploitation. That man's disability got exploited that night. And it led to multiple offenses. That's the BAFTA's fault. And then the BBC, to air what they aired, right, is careless. And not like some haphazard accident. No, like a real lack of care was exercised for those two black men. And we know the BBC knows how to take care of what they care about, right? Because they censored a bunch of other. They went so far as to make sure certain things weren't topics of conversation. They censored Akinola's speech, the director of My Father's Shadow, which is an amazing film, by the way. So you censored one black man, you failed to protect two others, and our production designer, Hannah, you do not care for our dignity, our humanity. You want to celebrate our art, but you won't protect. And that's why we celebrate sinners. That's why we celebrate Ryan. That's why we show up to the NAACP. Because those are spaces where we felt safe, where we feel safe.
Shout out to our good sister Jasmine Lawson. I thought that was extraordinary.
Jamie Lawson.
Jamie? That's
Jamie
what I said.
Lawson.
I said Jamie. I said Jasmine?
Mm-hmm.
I said Jamie in the beginning. My bad. Shout out to our good sister Jamie Lawson. Listen, that sister, she lit. You know what I'm saying? I love to see black women, dark-skinned black women, black women, not these racially ambiguous motherfuckers they be putting out. Black women, goddammit. Get out here.
Black, dark,
black.
Godiva.
Beautiful sister, also lovely sister. Lord. I like to see them looking good, speaking intelligently, not twerking, but saying some shit. You understand? That's what I'm talking about right there. This is what we need out here. That sister was unapologetic about whatever that bullshit was that took place at the BAFTAs. There's a whole bunch of theories going around about, this happened and that happened and it was staged. Maybe it was. But like she said in her commentary, they're very careful about what they air and what they edit out and all that old shit. Why didn't you edit that out? Why did this have to be something that went viral at our expense? Why do we not feel safe in these spaces that you come to so-called honor us, but you actually exploit us? That's how I like to hear sisters talking. You understand? Not all this bullshit that, these sisters on this panel was just talking, because I ain't seen a man up there yet. You understand what I'm saying? This sister right here, you know what I'm saying? That's how you get down, because you're confronting them directly. you're challenging them directly, and you're being unapologetic about it. You're not cowering in a corner. You're not some shrinking violet. See, that's what a strong Black woman actually looks like. Mind you, she was standing up for two Black men. We don't work over here and over there. We work together. You understand? I love to see it. That's our crown check for this evening. Y'all go ahead and take us home. That was a feel-good moment right there. What y'all got to take us home? Go ahead.
Yeah, I love to see sisters like that. That reminds me back in the early 70s when we had our Black Panther Party sisters that would stand up in the midst of systemic racism and white supremacy, and had they afros out with their black fist up, making sure that they talk to quote unquote honky in the cracker like that. So she was very, very on point with what she said. I'm glad she called it out. And she also didn't leave it there. She just said there's so many different violations that happened that night. Just like one of the things I talked about before was that the fact that this was the first time a Black person received an award like that, which is Ryan Coogler winning an award, first ever Black person to do it. And for his legacy to be kind of blemished by that type of bullshit that was staged on purpose, because it was a bird, it was a stone that killed two birds at one time. So I appreciate sisters like that. Need more sisters to step up for us like that. But we have a lot. We do have a good amount of sisters that do that. So that's why I'm saying when you have this shit show of a round table that talk down on Black men, saying that Black men need to do this and do that for women, there are Black women out there that know a lot of Black men that do stuff for Black women. Half of the men are either in prison or under the goddamn ground for helping out Black women. So let's not tarnish Black men like that, like they aren't out here sacrificing their lives for Black women. Just because you don't see it does not mean it's not happening or it is not taking place.
And no one else does.
Yeah, Black women are taking care of Black men and Black men are taking care of Black women. Let's continue on the positivity and let these goofball motherfuckers fall by the wayside who's only doing it for clout and notoriety. And I land my plane on that.
Facts. Bobby Drake, take us home, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Jamie Lawson, in all ways applicable, chef's kiss.
Extraordinary.
I understand what Preacher Boy was on. It wasn't his fault. I understand it, brother. I understand. I sort of got it then. I really get it now.
She dope.
Absolutely. She's definitely in a class by herself. Definitely need to see that class padded with some more sisters as opposed to some of the others that we've seen recently. That right there is Black womanhood at its apex right there. Holding the line, doing the damn thing. Big kudos to her. Excellent selection for Crown Check. Very thorough show, very necessary show. I'm glad that we got to chop that up. We had some people come to us and ask us our thoughts about it. Definitely needed to address it. Even if they didn't bring it to our attention, it was definitely a subject that was worth getting into, because we need to understand that this sort of performative manhood, this sort of denigrated manhood and masculinity, this ain't it. We are definitely in a time where more than ever we need men to step up. We need men to get some man training. They need to elevate themselves. They definitely need to go ahead and boost themselves up and then to inject themselves into the society, because there's a huge absence of masculinity in the realm right now. We need proper men to stand up, to reclaim their power, reclaim their authority, and to go ahead and start making changes to impact the society in a proper, healthy, functional way. However, you are not going to cheat and shortcut the game by putting out this crackhead, crackpot nonsense, this hodgepodge that we witnessed. That is not manhood. That is performative manhood. That is denigrated manhood. What that was basically was the eunuch trade show.
Facts. Facts.
If you need a gelded male, that's where you go to go ahead and put your bid in. You are not going to get what we need by getting a bastardized variety of masculinity. You actually get worse. There's a saying that goes, strong men make easy times make weak men make hard times. Then continues. We need strong men to create easy times. These are the men that will create the hard times. We're living in hard times now because of weak men. This does not help you keep the cycle going. Okay, this isn't it. We're not going to go ahead and take the shortcut. We're not going to take the cheap $2 version of manhood just because we can't probably afford the $10 variety. If you ain't got the $10, then save up the $10 and get the real damn thing. It's going to take you a lot farther, a lot further, for a lot longer. All right. We appreciate all y'all for rocking with us this evening. Glad to be back after the 1 week hiatus. The folk that chimed in the comments, we appreciate y'all. Valuable contributions. Thank you for rocking with us. Those who caught us live. Our Facebook fam, YouTube crew, Instagram peoples, all the ones that's catching the replay. We appreciate you. Thanks for rocking with us. And as always, you know what I'm going to say. Subscribe. The bell icon. Hit that. Select all the notifications so you can be on board when we go live. That's what it's for. No spam, no ham, no ma'am. All we do is bringing you the real and the raw. That's it. When we go live, you know to join up, click up, and catch us in the flesh.
Yeah.
Until next time, this is Major Gage. That person is Anthony Malcolm. And I'm Bobby Drake. And together we are Manversations 2020. Peace out. God bless.
Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manversations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Hunger shall make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manversations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter. Make your life count. live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage, we are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.